Hey, and thanks for watching another pad video. So we're making this video specific for our client. This is a 2004 Chevrolet Silverado Z71, four-wheel drive, 5.3 liter V8, all the good stuff. So vehicle's brought in with a numerous checklist, but we just want to show our client where the fluid leaks are coming from. We got a coolant leak, we have a front diff oil leak, and we have a engine oil leak. All right, so if you'll come in right here to start with, we're going to show you the source of the coolant leak. We've got the splash pans down and way up here where the water pump meets, where it meets the engine block, right there. You can see that wet area, okay? And also the same on the passenger side where the water pump meets the block, it's leaking coolant. So if we come in a little further down here, you can see traces of leaking coolant. Look at, see it's running down on my screwdriver here, my pointer. All right, so we got coolant up here. So water pump's leaking. We want to replace that water pump. Also want to show you the drive belt, the air conditioned drive belt. You can see how cracked it is. The ribs are very brittle and cracking, so we want to replace both drive belts. Now we got an engine, or let's go to the front diff. Let's talk about this front diff. So there's your front differential, axle to the driver's side, axle to the passenger side. This axle seal has been leaking diff oil here, and as this axle rotates, it's been slinging that oil over here on the frame. All right, so we want to resolve this axle seal leak. So the fix for that is we'll remove both axles, remove this flange or output shaft on both sides. We'll install new seals, put it all back together, new fluid. So it'll be a full service for that front diff. So if we move back a little further, we're going to start looking at some oil leaks. You can see the residual. Here's where the transmission meets the engine. You can see the residual oil all over the bottom of the engine. The easiest ones to see, this is just a block off plate. There's a gasket in between the pan and this plate. We'll replace that. They always leak. But if you look down the pan where it meets the engine block, you can see all the oil that has leaked over time right through here. Also, there's what we refer to as a rear main seal oil leak. It's going to be impossible to get it with that camera here, but way up in here between the engine and transmission, there's a seal up there. It's very common to leak. It is also leaking, and there's engine oil running down, causing it actually out this little weep hole here, right? So that's any oil that leaks in here runs out here. Well, you can see where it has been leaking. Okay, let's see if we have anything else to show there. No, we're gonna move back. To fix those oil leaks, we're gonna remove the transfer case. It'll get a new gasket here where it meets the transmission. It'll get new fluid. We're gonna remove the transmission. At that time, we'll also drain all the fluid. It'll get a new filter, new pan gasket, new fluid back in it. All right, go back to the rear a little further. Let's look at these brakes. So this is not a fluid leak, but I wanted to show it. This is the driver's side, and I've got the pads separated from the rotor slightly. But you can see how thin the friction material has become on this brake pad, especially this outer one. So we want to suggest replacing these brake rotors and pads because the friction material is just this little thin part that's left right here, and this is the metal backing plate, and that's the friction material. So very, very thin, certainly at their wear limits. And we also would like to replace these bump stops while we're at it. You can see how cratered up and crispy critters those are. Those are very affordable, they're very inexpensive, very easy to install. So we just want to throw those in there for our client. So anyway, I hope this video helps our client. I hope this video helps any future clients with a maybe a full-size GM Suburban truck, whatever it may be, 4-wheel drive. Anyway, if you have a car and you want us to do a once-over for you, we'll put it on video, we'll send it to you. We'll show you exactly what's going on with it. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Okay, quick insert. I let this same truck down, something I forgot to show you, so I want to throw this in here. One additional engine oil leak that we're going to discuss with our client on this Chevrolet truck. See where the valve cover meets the cylinder head. You can see the residual oil has been running down the side of the engine block here. So we want to replace those valve cover gaskets to fix that leak. Another leak that I'm going to discuss with our client, the symptom was a AC compressor that's cycling on and off what seems to be excessive amounts. That was due to low refrigerant levels. So I want to show you here, if you'll zoom in here, these are the service ports. This is where you connect the AC gauges or AC machine to. You got a high side and a low side. These are service ports are replaceable, but you can see how it has this green, like neon green, residual oil. Well, that is refrigerant oil, and it shouldn't be visible from the outside here. It's leaking through this service port. Unfortunately, it's very common. And the reason it's neon green is the oil is dyed to make, D-Y-E-D, to make leak detection easier. So it glows under UV light. It's more easy to see with naked eye. And here's a pressure switch here. We're going to replace that as well. You can see all the oil build up here. This is where refrigerant and refrigerant oil have been leaking out slowly but surely. And that's why it's that neon green, because it has the leak detection dye in it. So we're going to replace this service port, and this switch. And we're going to vacuum, recover, vacuum, and recharge proper levels of refrigerant back into the AC system, and that'll resolve that. But anyway, we just want to throw that in there, and thanks again for your time.